me again. I wanted to talk about birth trauma and genetics. Most of us don't realize that we're looking at a genetic situation at birth. This is something that I presented all the way back. This is 2017 at Oxford. So for a muscle contraction to happen, so first of all, the myosin actin are moving in a rotational spin. But then we have the kinetic energy, which a lot of that is gravity, right? The force of gravity within our system. Going into now, gravity is a constant, not down, all around us. So creating this perpetual motion. Going into, because it's a constant, now gravity actually should stabilize us, not throw us off, and then creates a muscle contraction, and it goes around into this kind of sphere. One of the things that you really see the organization of this, the perpetual motion, the stabilization, or the organization of gravity, is in breathing. When a child is born, right, this is the first time, first of all, nobody looks at this. The expansion of the human body takes place. In the womb, we're not breathing and eating, we'll die. There's no elimination, there's no intake, where there's no respiratory responses. Again, I'm not eating, I'm not burping, I'm not doing any of those kind of movements until I leave the womb and hit gravity for the first time. So just think of a balloon going from cold room into a hot air, that expansion, but that whoosh, right? This is what helps get the babies out of us. It's not that the mother's contracting like a toothpaste tube, right, and getting the baby out. That's what we think when the baby has a hard time delivering, and we think, again, they get stuck in the vaginal canal. All of those kind of connotation are all little things that go up in my antennas going, because I'm not seeing the organization of movement even in birth. So when a child breathes for the first time, it's not a reflex, guys. I'm articulating all those bones and the action against gravity. So your intercostals, the muscles in between the rib cage, all of that really need to almost like snap into place and get that full breath. With meth babies, you see more of that machine gun cry or that cat cry. With SMA babies, you don't hear that cyclical cry like, they get more of the, because again, the way that the chest is expanding. One of my hypotheses is, I say high risk, but really for the most part, if a baby doesn't organize in breathing correctly, to organize this cycle of gravity and movement and that perpetual motion, then they will be vertically challenged. Because if they can't organize this in simple form of breathing, they're certainly not going to do it in walking without help. With genetics, you typically get more low tone responses, where birth trauma, you get more the high tone, the cerebral palsy kind of responses. They can be mixed when they've combined, because you're thinking, oh, my child didn't breathe right. I will add to that the biggest misconception that an APGAR score is your telltale sign. The APGAR score has nothing to do with short and long-term development. I don't care what anyone's going to tell you, even the top doctor, I'm going to argue. There's a big paper out of Norway that shows that 89% of the children with CP, this was a 2010 paper, all had high APGAR scores. And there's just like they're suddenly surprised. No, the APGAR score has nothing to do with development. Why? Because you're not doing your newborn movement assessment that I'm telling you, and you're not looking at that key developmental features that happen early on. How are you organizing in space to get you to where you need to be, which is a milestone, a transitional skill. They're really important to your child. Start out with the 99 super baby secrets. Start out by doing the newborn movement assessment. You can do it on an 80-year-old. Start out by understanding how your child is organizing movements. If you want to know how your child is putting this together, or how you're putting it all, and how you're organizing movement, that's where movement lesson comes in, because that's what it is. It's teaching you about movement. And all these things, I get it, come into play, trauma and not, and genetics. It's how that person is organizing all this to create their life. Thanks, guys.